most, and to give all praise, honor, and glory. Double honors to the elder bishops and apostles of Great Millstone that taught me the truth. Another week in, week out, doing this work. And today we're going to start with 1 Samuel chapter 18, verse 25, going into David, and we're going into, before we went live, how David was a soldier of the Lord, and just showing you that, that manlyhood or brutality that the Lord expects. So, read that.
This is 1 Samuel 18 and 25. And Saul said, Thus shall ye say to David, The king desireth not any dowry, but 100 foreskins of the Philistines, to be avenged of the king's enemies. But Saul thought to make David fall by the hand of Philistines.
Right, so when you go into the story, David wanted Saul's daughter. I think the name was Michael, or it was something along those lines. But he wanted Saul's daughter. And David asked Saul, like, let me have your daughter. And Saul, trying to kill him, was like, all right, go and kill 100 Philistines and cut off their foreskins and bring them back to me.
That's pretty outrageous.
So it could be proof, that he did that. And then you'll be worthy for my daughter. Go ahead.
And when his servant told David these words, it pleased David well to be the king's son-in-law, and the days were not expired. Wherefore David arose and went, he and his men, and slew of the Philistines 200 men. And David brought their foreskin, and they gave them in full tale to the king, that he might be the king's son-in-law. And Saul gave him Michal, his daughter, to wife. And Saul saw and knew that the Lord was with David, and that Michal, Saul's daughter, loved him.
And how many foreskins did he say he cut off?
200 men.
Keep reading.
And Saul was yet the more afraid of David, and Saul became David's enemy continually. Then the prince of the Philistines went forth, and it came to pass, after they went forth, that David behaved himself more wisely than all the servants of Saul, so that his name
That's good there.
was much as 5.
So Saul wanted 100 foreskins, and David came back. Let me see where it says it.
Yeah, he said he wanted 100, and then he came back with 200. Slew David brought their foreskins.
Let me see. Let me see your phone. I think it says it in a different place, the same story. Cause it didn't get the point I wanted.
What was the point you were trying to look for?
Bring it out.
Hey, but he said he wanted 100, but David brought him 200.
Yeah, that's the point. But
David said here, and then some.
Where does it say? Yeah, I guess it was that. Yeah, it was that. I just thought that it was 1,000 foreskins, but nah, it was just 200. So Saul wanted 100, and David came back with 200. And imagine that, killing Philistines, and then going to each one of them and cutting off their rod. That's like,
That's some straight savagery, though.
yeah, that is some savagery. But that was a man after the Most High's own image. It says that David was pretty much one of the Lord's favorites. So
There's a force to be reckoned with.
yeah, so when you go into the mentality David had, that's something we should be striving for. Yahweh Shai being at the top, but David is also a key example. And one thing I've always heard is that even all these righteous men, how righteous they were, they all failed. Every single one of them failed the Lord in some type of aspect. David went off when he killed Uriah the Hittite. He pretty much sent Uriah to the front lines because he wanted his wife. So that right there shows you our people's nature. Being slick, trying to outsmart the Most High.
Out of pocket.
David was like, damn, his wife look good, but if I get with her now, that's adultery. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna send Uriah the Hittite to war, but I'm gonna put him on the front lines. That way he's for sure gonna die.
It's
And
like
once he does, that means I can take his wife.
he's trying to loophole that whole.
Yeah, he was trying to find a loophole. And essentially he did end up doing it, but the Lord's like, nah, I saw your intention. Boom, judgment. So David felt like that. Solomon had all the wisdom of the world, and Solomon, you know how Solomon fell?
Too many hoes or what?
Yeah, essentially too many hoes. Right? It was not the too many hoes aspect, but that the women he was dealing with, the heathens, his concubines, they made him. Through time, he started worshiping their gods.
Yeah.
Right? So imagine right now you got yourself like a little Arab chick, Muslim, and through time and time, you might find yourself throwing down that rag, getting down and worshiping Allah.
Or like brothers they be with like a Edomite bitch, bro. Like
Yeah.
she Christian, bro.
Yeah, the same thing. So-called Christian, it's the same thing. You start going to those churches. Right, start going to kissing the images of white Jesus Christ. Which this brother actually said that happened. Give that story real quick. What happened yesterday?
Yeah, so I got a friend and pretty much he invited me to his church and I told him I'd go. I went with open mindset, but at the end of the day I knew what they was gonna be doing and shit. But it was just a little outrageous to me that after everything I've told the brother about the image of the Most High Son, Yahweh Shai, when we got there, they got these, they had the pictures of the saints and the fucking white man Jesus. And after all this shit, everybody get up and start walking to kiss the images, and there the brother go and he go kiss the image of that white guy.
Yeah, so essentially he went on a research expedition. You want to put it like that?
Yeah, you can say that.
Not to actually go and
Yeah.
be at church, but they said that at this guy's church, yeah, kissing so-called Jesus Christ, which nowhere in the scriptures does it tell you you're supposed to be doing that. Nowhere in the scriptures does it tell you that.
And not even just that, like I'm saying, they had like all the saints and shit. They was kissing pictures of the saints and stuff.
Yeah, and the funniest part is when you look into those saints, a lot of those saints, like, they talk about, like, here you have a church called Saint Leo. And when you go into the scriptures, nowhere does it mention Saint Leo. That's something they just pulled out of their ass, or they're probably referring to some missionaries, like during the Renaissance period, the so-called, what's the name?
Renaissance.
Yeah, Renaissance. But during that times, there's like the Visigoths, there is the, forgot the name. But pretty much like the people that were focused on the Lord. They're Edomites, but they're trying to follow the Lord. JC. But that's who they're talking about when they say, oh, Saint Leo, Saint this, is scribes back then, that they would write down the things, and through generation they became, oh, saints, holy people, focused on the Lord. But when you actually look into what they were doing, they were worshiping a false idol. And it's the funniest thing, which I remember all this because I was watching the show Vikings, and the Vikings, they came the Saxons. That's what it's called. They came to attack the Saxons, which the Saxons were Edomites that were following, that white Christianity or Roman Catholicism. And all the scribes, this is the extent they go. They had hair, but in the middle like this, it was all shaved off. They just had the outside.
Like the monks and shit?
Yeah, the monks, they all had hair, but the top was with no hair. Because they thought, oh, you gotta have your head uncovered.
So they literally shaved their shit off?
Yeah, they would shave the middle of their head. Which, that's complete, like, nonsense. You don't gotta shave the middle of your crown to, get that connection. You just can't cover it with, like, a hood, a hat. Right, that's why when you go into Paul, pull that up. Find when it says you're not supposed to cover your crown. when Paul said that, let's see what church he was talking to. When you pray, cover not your head because it's a shame. Roughly paraphrasing.
Was it First Corinthians?
Yeah. So Paul was talking to the church of Corinthians in Corinthia, which was he was talking to the Israelites that were in Corinthians. But all those Israelites were completely gone. All those Israelites were following the Greek way. And you have it? Right, it is this. 1 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 4 says, every man praying or prophesying having his head covered dishonoreth his head. But every woman that prayeth or prophesieth with her head uncovered dishonoreth her head. For that is even all one as if she were shaven. Right, so there's different laws for both genders. Right, if you're a man, you're not supposed to cover your head when you pray, when you prophesy. That's why you see brothers that they'll have the headband on. They won't have their hoodie on when they start going into the scriptures. But being a female is supposed to be the opposite. You're supposed to have your head covered when you pray, right? Because as a woman, you're not supposed to be seen. You're not supposed to be a public example for everybody.
And that's the only good thing I've seen at that church. All the women, they have their heads covered.
Yeah, that's a righteous thing. But hey, even the Muslims are righteous, in some of their acts. But guess what? They're still worshiping a false god. So when you go into why Paul said that about the head, the reason he said that specifically to the church of Corinthians is because back then, when you go into the hat and the origin of the hat, the people that made that up were specifically the Greeks. They wore a long a hat. The hat goes back to those Edomites. So you could, same way today, you got Israelites wearing the baseball caps, and they got the fitteds. It's the same thing they were doing it back then, just with the different style. And that's why Paul had to exclusively say that. Same thing, another example, when Paul, it says that every man shall have one wife. It said he was talking to the church. Let's see if we can find that. It says one man, one wife, because that also has some history. And these are the things that these so-called Christians don't go into. You got to know why Paul was saying specific things, to specific churches.
Give me First Timothy.
Find it?
I don't think that's the one. Maybe.
Yeah, it is. 1 Timothy 3 and 2.
Alright, First Timothy 3 and 2. A bishop then must be blameless, the husband of one wife, vigilant, sober, of good behavior, given to hospitality. What is that? Apart,
apt to teach.
Apt
So,
to teach.
he should be ready to teach. Right? Brothers are always talking about how if you're able-bodied, you should be in the mindset of teaching, spreading the word, right? Because we don't want to be like the parable of the man that had one talent and hid it in a napkin, right? You don't want to be a napkin-ass Israelite. You got to do something with whatever the Lord gave you. And if he gave you just the ability to break down one scripture, you should be at least trying to tell somebody about that one scripture. If all you know how to break down is Revelation 1, where it says the Lord, had white woolly hair, you should be trying to tell somebody, hey, look what I found out. Guess what? Tell them, spreading the word. Or else if you just keep that information to yourself, it's pointless. Right? But hey,
Gatekeeping.
yeah, you gatekeeping information. So when you go into who that was written to, Timothy, Paul was writing that to Timothy. Now, why was Paul saying that about the bishops? The reason why is because back then in all those churches, they had that Greek custom. Even though they were talking about, the Lord, they were still gone. All the bishops and the people in the church, what they were doing is, they'd have this wife, I don't like that wife, let me get another one. I have this one. Oh, I don't like that one. Let me get another one. And they were pretty much swapping wives back and forth.
Gotta let you be like
Which,
Yeah.
that,
Gotta
when you go
honor
into
them.
the history of temple prostitutes, that's essentially what it goes back to. So that's why Paul was saying, hey, stick with the one wife you got, bro. Hey, what he said? He said, if you got a wife, seek not to be loosed, right? But if you don't got a wife, seek not a wife. So he was going into that of if you bishop one wife, you got your wife, like don't just leave for nothing, because that's also wicked.
You gotta
You know,
commit.
yeah, you gotta commit. It says that the only reason um, they should be separating with your wife is if she commits adultery. That's the only reason for separation. See if you can find that. Yahweh Shai said that. It goes into how, since the beginning, uh, says separate adultery, search that up. Because all these brothers out here, eh, it's a complicated subject, but the elder Malcolm from the Chicago camp, he constantly emphasizes how he doesn't like when brothers they just pump and dump females, right? Because when you go into what that's creating, hey, brothers that do that, you're ultimately creating a thought. Yeah, you're the one that's creating these women to be a promiscuous, right? Because whenever you leave a woman, you're making her now commit adultery because now she's gonna have to go seek another man, right? Hey, a lot of these females nowadays are not righteous enough to hold it down and be single till Yahweh Shai comes back. So once that fire comes in, once they start itching, as it says, guess what? They're gonna go and find a man to take away that itch, and that's adultery. So, but he also emphasizes how, where there is no law, there is no transgression. Right? There's no law specifically that says that you can't be out here doing that, right? Because like a concubine, there's different laws for a concubine and a wife. A concubine, let's say you got a little Edomite, you know, there's no law that you can't pump and dump her. She there's literally no law. So where there's no law, there's no transgression. You did nothing wrong. And then that's where you get you can get the confusion of, Israelites are scattered. You might be dealing with the Israelite and you don't even know it. So there's a fine line there. But read that.
They got Matthew 5:32. But I say unto you that whosoever shall put away his wife,
Over a little bit over here.
but I say unto you that whosoever shall put away his wife, saving for the cause of fornication, causes her to commit adultery, and whosoever shall marry her that is divorced committeth adultery.
Right, so putting away your wife for no reason, pretty much, you're making her go off. And that's wicked in itself. And Yahweh Shai, I think it keeps reading how since the beginning, it wasn't a thing. Does it say that up top before that? When you go into Yahweh Shai, when he was saying that,
Yes, it has been said, whosoever shall put away his wife, let him give her a writing of divorcement.
yeah. What about the verse before that?
The verse before that it says, and if thy right hand offend thee out.
That's not it. But in another scripture, Yahweh Shai was going to into how since the beginning, there wasn't a thing like that. We weren't supposed to separate man and woman. It's just that through the hardness of our hearts, the Most High Yahweh gave Moses a law on what to do in that situation. Right? Because the Lord knew, we were gonna, we're wicked. We are hard-headed, stiff-necked, so we needed a rule on every single situation. That's why there's even rules on rape. Scriptures talk about what you should do in that situation. And when you go into it, it's actually righteous. Because that's something that is a massive stumbling block for a lot of people. They look at, GMS, the rape camp, raping little kids, but that's not the case. It's just the fact that when somebody questions us about that, we're going to go into what it says. No matter how harsh it is, how bitter, we're going to bring out the scriptures.
It's not our opinion.
Yeah, it's not our opinion. And bring that out, search it up. Right, that's what scriptures talk about, how the sweet and the bitter, right? And when you read Lamentations, it says that, let me see if I can pull that. Lamentations. It says that he saw a book, written of desolation.
What do you want me to look at? Are you looking that up?
I'm finding another one. To find the one, it talks about how force, like search up force in the field. This goes in Lamentation. This scripture goes into how there is a book full of lamentations and woes, and that's going into the Bible. You know, everything in the Bible is not sweet. It's not okay. It's not okay. I didn't mean to say that, but it's not, pleasant to hear. When you go and read the story about how the Lord Yahweh had the tribe of Benjamin um, literally wait, and so when you go into history, the Benjamites, that tribe was pretty much almost completely like demolished. They had very low Benjamites left, and the Benjamites were like, damn, like if we keep going at this rate, like our tribe is gonna be extinct. Like we need to repopulate to keep on going. And what happened was that um, pretty much what they did is they found like a festival. They found a festival of women dancing, and see if you can find that. Start with that first, and then we'll get that. Actually, get that right there.
That was the one in the field.
Yeah.
Deuteronomy 22.
Deuteronomy 22.
So Deuteronomy 22 and 25. But if a man find a betrothed damsel in the field, and the man force her, and lie with her, then the man only that lay with her shall die.
Right. And betrothed goes into, she's already been used. She's not a virgin. So she belongs to another man. So if that man comes and forces himself on her, he's going off. They're going to put that man to death. And what does it say after?
But unto the damsel thou shalt do nothing. There is in the damsel no sin worthy of death. Whereas when a man riseth against his neighbor and slayeth him, even so is this matter. For he found her in the field, and the betrothed damsel cried, and there was none to save her. If a man find a damsel that is a virgin, which is not betrothed, and lay hold on her, and lie with her, and they be found, then the man that lay with her shall give unto the damsel's father 50 shekels of silver, and she shall be his wife, because he had humbled her. He may not put her away all his days. A man shall not take his father's wife, nor discover his father's skirt.
That's the point. Is that it says, now if a man finds a woman that's a virgin, and he forces himself on her, and she's a virgin, then guess what? He has to pay 50 shekels of silver to the father. Why does he have to do that? Because the woman is a possession. First is the father's possession, and then whatever man the father chooses becomes the man's possession.
She an asset?
Yeah, she an asset. So pretty much if you took her, it's like if you taking something from her dad. So you gotta pay up.
Yeah.
And when you go into like 50 shekels of silver, search up on Google, what would be the translation for like dollars. So how much was 50 shekels of silver?
Maybe $14. That's what it says right here.
50 shekels of silver?
50 shekels of silver.
Nah, that can't be right. Especially back then. $14 for a female. You could go to Thailand and fucking get cheaper than that.
I mean, I can't really. I looked up 50 shekels of silver.
Shit. Search it up. Come on. How much would 50 shekels of silver
You think that was a lot back then?
be? It definitely was a lot. That's why I'm bringing it out. In U.S.
Of a bag?
this is going off the recent price in silver, but yeah, there's no way probably to get a. It says a slave could be bought for 30 shekels of silver back then, which gives us a sense of its value as a form of payment. So a person was worth 30 shekels of silver. A slave, yeah, less. So 50 is like almost two slaves. So that's a kind of way to measure. But the point is, you gotta pay. And second is, you can't get rid of her.
She's yours now.
Yeah, no matter what she does, you can't get rid of her. So if she mad, annoying, right? Because if you rape her, you don't even know kind of her personality.
Yeah.
Unless you've been like stalking her.
What is she, dumb as hell or something?
Yeah, she could be talking back. She could be talking all types of shit. You know, being disrespectful. And guess what? You can't leave her. You can't leave her. So that's like the the consequence, which that's a righteous law. If you being that man, you have to think about two things. Damn, is she gonna be annoying? And second, damn, does she have a man?
Yeah.
And you pretty much taking chances, because if she got a man and you don't know it, that's your ass.
That's like not a wise thing to do at the
Yeah,
end of the day.
it wasn't a wise thing to do. The normal way to do it was, the father examined the man. He found a worthy man, and they just married. It was all set up. And you see, that's something that if it were implemented today, we wouldn't see the amount of thoughts that we see running around.
If you look at like the Middle East, like they're more oriented like that with
Yeah.
their families and shit. That's why they're not as fucked up as they are here per se.
Yeah, because the scriptures, it says that a woman would choose every man. See if you can find that in Ecclesiasticus. A woman would choose any man. You see, all these women out here, they don't got the discretion nor the wisdom to actually be able to choose. That's why you always see them with the Rays, the Pookies, niggas in the hood with fucking dreads that will pop them and leave them. Now, why do they fall into that situation? Because they don't got no wisdom to choose. They don't got no wisdom.
Dumb as hell.
So, if there was a woman, of the Lord, she knew the scriptures, maybe she'd have a better chance. But guess what? They're emotional creatures. So, if they might see a nigga with a Gucci chain on, the tightest fit, the nice fitted, he got the color scheme, he's just looking clean, and boom, they lust him. And that's enough to just get him like that. Whereas a man, he's not looking at, what fit he got on. If he got the latest Jordans, he's looking at the character. If this is a moral person, if this man could take care of my daughter, provide, which that's what really matters.
I don't think so.
Ecclesiasticus 36 and 24, it says,
But I looked it up on the app. It don't say the same thing.
it's in 21. Start at 21. Go to 24 or 25.
Ecclesiasticus 36 and 21. A woman will receive every man, yet is one daughter better than another? The beauty of a woman cheereth the countenance, and a man loveth nothing better. If there be kindness, meekness, and comfort in her tongue, then is not her husband like other men? He that getteth a woman, getteth a wife, beginneth a possession, help like unto himself, and a pillar of rest.
Right, and they don't like to hear that nowadays.
You tell that to a woman, she gonna fucking flip.
Yeah, you tell her, yeah, you
Smoking
my
crazy.
possession. What are you talking about? I'm a single, independent woman. I don't need you for shit. I have to pay my own bills.
She'll fucking crash out, bro.
Yeah, they'll crash out if you tell them that they're your possession. But that's the truth. Where are we reading it from? The Holy Scriptures. And the key point is help like unto himself, right? Because she's supposed to be in your mindset. You see, a woman's supposed to enter your world, not the opposite. A lot of niggas, the reason why they fail today is because they're chasing the woman. They're entering the woman's world. And whenever you do that, guess what? The natural balance is now out of order. And she detests that. Okay, there's a scripture that goes into how if a woman maintain a man, she is full of reproach. She's got that negative feeling. She looks down on you because internally she knows that you're the one that's supposed to be providing, and you're the one that's supposed to be leading. So a woman's supposed to be in your mindset, a help like unto himself. She's supposed to like what you like. She's supposed to be tailor made to you. You're supposed to mold her. You know, a lot of niggas hear that today. Women hear that today. Oh, he's grooming her. You know, he's molding her. He's a predator. But no, that's the way it's supposed to be. You're supposed to mold your woman into how you want her to be. So when you look at all these laws and everything we're reading, this is held up for generation and generation. Okay, these are things that work. You look at all the kingdoms that have passed; they have followed in some sort of manner this type of philosophy. It's just recently now that, hey, the woman is doing whatever she wants to do.
I got First Corinthians 1 and
Yeah,
11.
read it.
It says, "For the man is not of woman, but the woman of the man.
Mm-hmm.
Neither was the man created for the woman, but the woman for the man. For this cause ought the woman to have power on her head because of the angles." Well, pretty much was saying how the woman was created for man.
Yeah. Going to Adam and Eve, it says that Eve was created because Adam was alone, right? She's supposed to be a helpmate, right? She was supposed to help Adam in whatever he wanted, right? So, hey, relate that to nowadays. If you ever down and out, your woman's supposed to help you. Okay, she ain't supposed to just leave you, hey, for nothing. And you got females out here that, hey, I saw a video. This dude lost his job. He got fired, and he comes home and his girl's packing her shit.
Damn.
She's dead ass leaving because you a broke ass nigga, just lost your job, rah rah rah. You know, like she's supposed to step up in that situation and help with whatever he needs.
Yeah.
Hey, if you starting a business, you as a man starting a business, if you need money, your girl's supposed to give you the money if you need it to help you. You know, she's supposed to be a ride or die, as they say. But nowadays, all that is gone. You know, you ain't gonna find a woman like that easily. And even the ones that say they ain't the truth, a lot of them are also bugged out. We ain't gonna find no Proverbs chapter 31 woman here. You know, we ain't gonna find no Sarahs, no Leahs, you know, women of the scriptures. Hey, tell a woman to do what Sarah was doing. You know, calling Abraham Lord. Hey, none of these females gonna call you Lord. You know, they ain't gonna call you Lord because none of them are in their right mindset. When you go into, and the reason why I believe it's like that is because, hey, the Lord's showing us a lesson. You know, because it says that Lord Yahweh, Israel, was his woman. And we essentially committed adultery on him. Right? We disobeyed him. So, and he's showing us that lesson by having our woman act the same way, the Israelite woman. So, it's kind of a lesson in itself. Like, yeah, the same way your woman ain't listening to you, she out here being with another nigga, is the same way y'all did it to me. You know, out here worshiping Buddha, Baal.
Disobedient and shit.
Yeah, disobedient, you know, rebellious. It says that rebellion is as a sin of witchcraft. Read that. Okay, search that up. Rebellion is as a sin of witchcraft. And let's get it first. Samuel.
Here I got 1 Samuel 15 and 23. For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry, because thou hast rejected the word of the Lord, he hath also rejected thee from being king.
Right, so it says that rebellion is as a sin of witchcraft, and what was the other one?
And stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry.
So stubbornness as idolatry, worshiping other gods. And nowadays, when you look at the Israelite woman, she's rebellious, right? She's hard-headed, doesn't want to listen to what you say. And if this were according to the law, guess what? It's as a sin of witchcraft. And what's the judgment for witchcraft? Death. You know, death. So, hey, we're going through a cold judgment right now. We're going through Amos, the 5th chapter. You know, get that. I think it's Amos chapter 5 and verse 11, if I remember correctly. Amos chapter 7 and verse 17. This is why we're in this condition.
Amos 7 and 17. Therefore, thus saith the Lord, thy wife shall be a harlot in the city, and thy sons and thy daughters shall fall by the sword, and thy land shall be divided by line, and thou shalt die in a polluted land, and Israel shall surely go into captivity forth of his hand.
Right, and all that has been accomplished today.
That shit's literally what this United States of America is right now.
Yeah. It says that, hey, the woman was going to be a harlot in the city. You know, what do you constantly hear? Oh, she a city girl.
Oh my God.
Oh, she in the streets. You know, that's literally what the Bible said was going to happen.
And they out here cheating, being harlots.
Yeah,
Straight whores.
prostitutes. So that's why it's happening. You know, it's a punishment. When you go back to Deuteronomy 28, it says that the tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon her ground for delicateness, her eye shall be evil toward her husband, her bosom, her son, her daughter, and how she would eat them in the straight, you know, when things would get hard. And that's exactly what we see. Back then, they wouldn't even put their foot on the ground because that's how delicate and feminine they were. And now they run around the streets, you know, barefoot.
They niggas now, that's what
Yeah,
they are.
pretty much they became masculine. You know, that's why it says that, hey, the foundations of the world are out of course. Because nowadays, men are masculine, or men are feminine, and women are masculine.
Got the soy boys.
You know, and something that's the most craziest thing I always see is that you have all these transgenders, or no, lesbian relationships, and even in their relationships, they show you the true order of things. Because
Yeah,
you always
there's like-
got the dominant girl, and you got the submissive
You
girl.
can see the one that's supposed to be the nigga in the
The man, yeah.
relationship.
So why is it that they follow that, you know, that structure? Because that's the only structure that works, is the dominant and the submissive. You can't have two dominant people in a relationship, or else y'all are just gonna bump heads the entire time. You know,
Yeah, that's like a fucking regular relationship with extra fucking steps, bro.
yeah. Because now they gotta worry about like how they gonna put it in. They gotta go spend money on some extra shit. You know, it's just confusion. And that's where we at. You know, we in the land of confusion, Babylon. So, what did we just read? What was I going into? Oh, harlot in the
Yeah.
city. Search up my people, woman rule over them. Search that up. Rule over them. In the app.
Rule over them.
Yeah. Ruled over them. Isaiah.
Isaiah 3 and
Yeah. 12.
Isaiah 3 and 12. As for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. O my people, which they lead thee, O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err and destroy the way of thy path.
Right, and I haven't looked into the full breakdown of that first part. Children are their oppressors, but I believe that's just going to the other nations by referring to them as children, which children are known to be, you know, reckless. They don't really got any guidance.
Disobedient.
You know, yeah, just, you know, doing whatever they want to do. But the key point is says that women rule over them, and that's what we see right now is that women are ruling over the Israelite man. You know, it was prophecy that the Israelite woman was going to be in a dominant position, and that the man was going to be weak. So, you know, this is not no coincidence. Find the other one. It says a search up compass. I think it's M compass.
M-M-N-E-N.
Compass or N compass. Just one of those.
Yeah, that's probably something.
I think it's in Jeremiah. Jeremiah 31:22.
Jeremiah 31:22. How long wilt thou go about, O thou backsliding daughter? For the Lord hath created a new thing in the earth. A woman shall compass a man.
Right? So right there he told you he was gonna create a new thing in the earth. Because back then it wasn't what we see today. And what he was gonna create that a woman shall compass a man. Which when we go into that word compass, it means to run around. Right? That's why they say, oh, she running circles around him, going until she's controlling him. So women were gonna be, in that controlling, authoritative position. And that's what we're seeing right now. That prophecy was actually fulfilled in this empire. Because this is where we see it going hardcore. During the Greek, the Roman times, you didn't have women ruling as a collective. It's just now in America where that's the ideology. Feminism, and all of that was it was a ploy. It was a scheme. When you go into where that came from, it goes into the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers. All that, when you see the white woman with their hand like this, that all goes back to the reason why these Rockefellers, they put money into that was because if they promoted the woman to be like the man and, got them in that mentality, that means that women would also work. And if the women also work, that means that they can now tax 50% more of the population. So it was a scheme. It was a scheme to make more money, uplifting the woman, which when you uplift the woman, now guess what? The woman is now at home taking care of the children, and now everything, they used to teach everything at home. There was no such thing as schools. So now, since the woman is not at home, we got to send the children to school, education system, and now they get indoctrinated from age 3, 4, so they're 18. Literally learning straight lies. So, one of the Rockefellers, or the elites, they were talking about how we don't want a nation of thinkers. We want a nation of workers. And that's why nothing in school is, it makes you think.
Yeah, they don't teach you they have those financial literacy classes teach you how to make money. They don't teach you how to make fucking money.
They don't teach you how to make money. You go into all those business classes, and you find that all the business so-called professors, they don't know shit. They don't even got their own businesses. It's the funniest part.
Yeah, and they teaching that shit.
Yeah, they teach you, oh, you start a business like this, but they don't even got a business. Why are they working at a high school if they know so much about business? They be out here a hustler. So, it's just, all this shit is upside down, man. And it's all the scheme at the end of the day, when you go into, I think it's Daniel chapter 5, search up policy. Search up policy in the search. Pulls up Daniel 5. Policy, Policy. Let's move a little bit.